Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Ulfatus Saliha and I'm from EG3. So in this video, I will answer the question about section 2, part 1, understanding the concepts of discourse analysis. So the first question is, why should we learn the genesis of discourse analysis? I think because discourse analysis is closely related to various disciplines. Its development varies according to the studies that interact with discourse analysis. In addition, a discourse analysis is also born from the influence of the development of linguistic theory, in which this study examines the use of language by indigenous people both orally and in writing. So the second question is, do you agree with saying that the development of discourse analysis theory is strongly influenced by the developments of linguistic theories? Yes, I agree with the point as explained earlier that analytical theory is strongly influenced by the developments of linguistic theory, where this linguistic theory is the beginning of the emergence of discourse analysis theory. As is well known, this linguistic theory has undergone several developments until it finally reached the stage of discourse analysis theory. So the next question is, what do you know of traditional grammar theory? Please explain your answer to this question by referring to these things. First, what is traditional grammar theory? According to Smith, 2003, traditional grammar theory is the study of the structure as well as the formation of words or morphology and sentence syntax, usually without much reference to sound and meaning. This concept is found somewhat different from the concept of grammar in modern linguistic study, in which grammar is defined as the study of the whole interrelated system available in the structures of sentences in a particular language. Each sounds, words, phrases, sentences, as well as meanings. So next is, what is the main principle of this theory? So the main principle of this theory are the grammar in this tradition reflects the perspective a view that one a dialect or variety of language is to be valued more highly than others and should be the norm for all speakers of the language. Next is, what do teachers who adopt the principle do in teaching language? So, in teaching a language, teachers must make rules of a certain language as an absolute reference which should be fully studied and followed by all learners of the language. They are only allowed to speak in accordance with the pattern of sounds, words, and sentence structure of the source language. Students are not allowed to use language patterns that do not match the reference language. So for the next is, what are the products of this theory? The result of the application of this theory is people will be proficient in working on problems related to grammar but are unable to apply them in daily life, in the sense that people will only focus on using proper grammar without being able to know the implied meaning contained in a sentence. Okay, for the next is what is the main shortcoming of this theory? So the main shortcoming of this theory is in the perspective approach. Many linguists believe that teaching a language by using this approach was not strong enough to develop learners' language knowledge and skill because the focus was limited to the referred language, which consequently made the language knowledge of the learners isolated by components of the standard language. Okay, for the next, what are grammar translation method and its relation to traditional grammar theory? So, according to SIA 2014, traditional grammar theory inspired the birth of grammar traditional method in language pedagogy. Many teachers conducted their language classes under the guidance of this method at the time. The grammar translation method has been largely abandoned by the language teacher today, but it must be remembered that the criticism of this method considered a pioneer of diverse language and linguistic teaching theories, including the next generation of linguistic theories such as structuralism and functionalism. Okay, the question number 4. What do you think? What do you know of structuralism theory? Please explain your answer to this question by referring to this thing. For the first thing, what is structuralism theory and what does the Saussure say about the structure of language? So, structuralism theory is a theory that focuses on the study of language as a static system of interconnected units. And the Saussure argued that language was formed by second which finally produced parole or speech or uterine. And uterine here is then understood as any meaningful event that has been made possible and governed to an extent by a pre-existing system of second. So the next is, what are the main principles of this theory? The principles of this theory are, first, a structuralism puts a spoken language to be the first place and written language the second. Second is, structuralism employs descriptive approach which allows learners try to find the unconscious rules that people follow when they say things like sentence without any prescribed rules in book to follow. The third is, structuralism requires learners to learn language skill as a unified system as a whole. Therefore, they need a source of language components for imitation in order to build their skill in a foreign language. Okay, next question is, what is informant method and what is a relationship to the structuralism theory? So, Informal method is method that employs a native speaker of the language called as the informant who serve as a source of phrases, vocabulary, and who provide sentences for imitation. Linguist was also involved in implementing this method. The linguist was on charge to supervise the learning and teaching process. The linguist know nothing about the target language, but he was trained to elicit the basic structure of target language from the informant. This is in line with the theory of structuralism, which implies to use of language that is in accordance with the correct structure of the language like native speaker of that language. And the next question is, what are the characteristics of the method? So, the characteristics of the method are: 1. A language is what its native speaker says, not what someone thinks they ought to say. 2. Drilling is a primary activity in the classroom. 3. Learning a foreign language is in need of habit using the language, which is initiated by mimicking, repeating the use of language components continuously until the learners feel natural to express everything they have learned in the foreign language. 4. Teachers have to lead his learners to practice the same sentences over and over again to gain familiarity with the sentence. 5. Teachers' language is a model for the learners to imitate. 6. Communication skill will be attained after going through a long, boring, and repetitive process and rigorous drills. Okay, the next question is what is the main shortcoming of this theory? So, this method does not really imply the teaching of culture in language teaching, and it becomes one of the shortcomings of this method. Okay, the next question is what is error analysis and what is its relation to the structuralism theory. So, error analysis mean students are expected to be able to speak a foreign language according to the correct language structure. They must speak using the correct language pattern. Therefore, apart from teach the correct sentence structure, the teacher is also required to prevent students from making mistakes while speaking. So whenever error is found, a teacher should fix it immediately. This is done to avoid facilitation mistake because it allows students to get used to making mistakes. Obviously, this is closely related to structuralism because in structuralism also places great emphasis on the use of good and correct language structure in accordance with applicable language rules. Students are required to be able to speak in accordance with the correct language patterns. So, both have the same goal, which is to expect students to be able to speak according to the order of the language well. Okay, the next is the question number 5. What do you know of structuralism theories? Oh, sorry, I mean functionalism theories. Please explain your answer to this question by referring to these things. So first is, what is functionalism theory and what does Chomsky say about language? The theory of functionalism is known as an approach to language studies which concerned with studying the functions performed by the use of language. And Chomsky rejects all kinds of structuralism theory of language learning that claim language as a habit structure taught by presenting stimulus and response, reinforcement, and association. He also states that learning theories in the two traditional approach would not be regarded as a model of how humans learn language due to the fact that much of human language use was not limited behavior, but it was created from underlying knowledge of abstract rules. The abstract rules derived from innate aspect of mind and human process experience taught language. Chomsky further claimed that sentences in human language were not learned by imitation and repetition but generate from the learner's underlying competence. Next question is, what are the difference between Chomsky's views and Haim's about language? So Chomsky states that learning theories in the two traditional approach could not be regarded as a model of how humans learn language due to the fact that much of human language use was not imitate behavior, but it was created from underlying knowledge of abstract rules derived from innate aspect of mind and human process experience taught language. While Hames rejects Chomsky's view of linguistic theory by stating that Chomsky's views was sterile. He further held that linguistic theory needed to be seen as part of a more generally theory incorporating communication and culture. Okay, next question is, what is the main principle of this theory? The main principle of this theory are: teaching language skill is not enough just to teach forms of language such as pronunciation, vocabulary, and grammar. Second is, knowledge of language form must be supported with the knowledge of how the language is functioned for communication in accordance with the social and the cultural context of its use. Next question is, what is CLT method and its relation to functionalism theory? So, language teaching method or CLT is communicative approach that has developed and transformed into various types of language teaching method that implies two main points. First is teaching language skill is not enough just to teach forms of language such as pronunciation, vocabulary, and grammar. Second is knowledge of language form must to be supported with the knowledge of how the language is functioned for communication in accordance with the social and cultural context of its use. This is in line with the theory of communication, which implies how language function for communication not only based on the use of grammar but also knowing other implied meanings of a words or sentence. Okay, the last question is what the relationship between discourse analysis and functionalism theory? So I think functionalism theory implies that studying language is not enough just to study grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation, and etc. Because language has two aspects, namely form and function. So language is not always in accordance with the meaning of the case, but sometimes there is an implied meaning of the word. Functionalism theory is the basis for discourse analysis, where humans can communicate well based on their form and function, social and cultural aspects. So I think that's all my answer. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.